The following contains strong violence and fictional depictions of dissociative identity disorder. Viewer discretion is advised. Friendship tip of the day. Friends don't let friends call Moon Knight Marvel's Batman and should be corrected on site.
Mind your tongue, boy!
Over the last few weeks, in between episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, dodging WandaVision hot takes on Twitter, and existential dread at the idea of a never-ending Disney corporate monopoly, I got to thinking about Marvel's other coming attractions. With Loki and What If well on their way to being released later this year, and quite a few others beyond that, only one has captured and held my attention like no other: Moon Knight. As of this video, the release date has been set sometime in 2022, with Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke as the show's headlining stars. Few details have been released as to the specific material the show will borrow from, or the style in which it'll be adapted, leaving the door wide open for speculation, which, if you haven't guessed by now, is kind of what we do here. Assuming that the Moon Knight series will follow the now standard Marvel screen adaptation origin story, we can make a few guesses as to story details. Moon Knight is the alter ego of Mark Spector, a former mercenary betrayed and left for dead by his employer, Raoul Bushman, when they discover an archaeological dig in Egypt that Bushman intended to loot for himself. As he lay dying, Spector's spirit was approached by the Egyptian god of the moon, Khonshu, who offered to resurrect Spector in exchange for becoming his agent on Earth. Spector accepts this deal, returns home to the US, and becomes the Fist of Khonshu, the Moon Knight, endowed with superhuman abilities and a highly fractured psyche, leading Spector to manifest multiple personalities over the course of his crime-fighting career, and frequently throwing it into chaos. The strength of his abilities also increases and decreases depending on the phases of the moon, which, it's kinda cool. I mean, it could be worse, could be the color yellow. Since then, he's been a vigilante, an avenger, a gentleman, a patient, and everything in between. Now, while my hopes are not high for an authentic depiction of what is effectively dissociative identity disorder, there are good representations of this kind of mental illness in one other piece of media for the show to draw inspiration from. Come to think of it, there are good representations of the mood, style, and execution I'd want to see in a Moon Knight series in this other piece of media. Maybe I should do the whole actual comparison video on it instead of vamping on and on. It's Mr. Robot. We're gonna do Mr. Robot. In short, Mr. Robot is a drama series about a hacker named Elliot Alderson attempting to bring down a megacorporation while battling his own DID as well as clinical depression and social anxiety. It's also one of those shows that isn't exactly underrated, but definitely feels that way. While it explores and plays with many tropes consistent with psychological thrillers, it also incorporates and experiments with subgenres like techno-thriller and modern noir. These elements of both style and substance are as perfect for the world of Mark Spector as they are for the modern vigilantes of Mr. Robot. Throughout the show, as Elliot's mental illness worsens and improves, so do the hallucinations and overall surreal mood of the show, to the point where it becomes difficult to distinguish what's real from what is imagined. This is the right mindset to prime the audience into when delving into the unstable mind of Mark Spector, whose only mindset now is to follow the will of an ephemeral elder god who only supposedly exists. Over the years, Spector has manifested several different personalities, including a millionaire, a cab driver, and even other heroes in the Marvel Universe. While frequently assuming qualities and mannerisms from these other personalities, he's also capable of conversation with them, hallucinating them as living, walking, talking people. This is also a point of inspiration to take from Mr. Robot, where Elliot frequently exchanges control of his body, actions, and perception of reality with his other personalities, whether willingly or not. Now, imagine Mark Spector blacking out in the middle of a fight, only to find that he's now watching his own actions play out from behind his own eyes, as Khonshu himself takes over his body, and having to fight his own subconscious to reassume control. Entire episodes could be devoted to Spector navigating the labyrinth of his own mind, hunting or being hunted by the personification of Moon Knight himself. Another point of inspiration to take from Mr. Robot is in its unsentimental depiction of violence. Moon Knight is one of the more vicious vigilantes in the Marvel Universe, matched in his brutality perhaps only by the likes of Wolverine and the Punisher. In addition to the mental strain of being the Fist of Khonshu, Spector is likely traumatized by his violent history, a quality that certainly isn't helped by the nature of his newly endowed occupation. No expense should be spared in showing the gritty underside of Moon Knight's crusade for justice.
He's not Marvel's Batman, guys. Stop saying that he's Marvel's Batman.
Now, everything I've mentioned operates on the assumption that Disney runs with a mature rating for Moon Knight. Anything less would do a disservice to the character, as well as the multitude of artists and writers that work to establish his identity. Even if Disney is working to separate themselves from the Marvel Netflix shows, there's no shame in taking a little inspiration from them in terms of groundedness and storytelling. But that would imply that Disney can learn from the past instead of duplicating it, so fingers crossed! Thank you for watching this video. I was surprised while doing research that there are more than a few really high quality Moon Knight fan films out on YouTube, and some clips of them even found their way into this video, so if you're interested in seeing those, I've linked them in the description. If you enjoyed this video or if you have some notes, please feel free to comment below. If you're interested in more genre mashing videos in the future, go ahead and subscribe to be notified when more come out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.